There's word going around of siege weapons coming to Rust, as well as a building change that's going to make builders' lives much easier, especially with the new world update that's coming, which also has had a bunch of work done this past week. We're going to be covering all of that a little later on in the video, as well as a bunch of other updates, and this update from the sponsor of this video, THATPRINTS. If you've ever wanted some Rust memorabilia, you can start with this 3D printed auto turret from that guy THATPRINTS at thatprints.co.uk. This turret features a laser and moves, and you can find a link in the description if you want to learn more. Otherwise, we'll be talking more about this at the end of the video. Let's take a look first at the changes to the world update that's going to be coming out October 3rd, which is live on the Ox 2 staging branch if you want to take a look at it for yourself. There's only about 2 more weeks until it gets released, and there's probably still a bunch of things that will be changing over that time. The Oasis spawns have been reduced from 3 to 2 to make room for the giant excavator, but on larger maps this probably won't be an issue. And there's been a bunch of changes to the cliffs as well as the new rock formations that we talked about last week. And on top of that, there's been a bunch of variations, fixes, and changes to the formations that we've seen already. To start off, all of the rock formations we covered in last week's videos are now more evenly dispersed around the map and feel like they have more purpose, and you can see there's a cave right next to this canyon with a bunch of rock formations, as well as this one right here, which is going to be a monster of a place to build a base. All of these rock formations are in every biome now, and they have biome-specific textures so that they better fit the scenery. This includes the desert, which previously didn't have any of these new formations. And this one spawned right next to the Oasis, which looks beautiful in cinematics. And we can see this variation with snow on it that spawned next to the outpost, which is outside of the no-build zone. The desert seems like it needs more balancing on the density of the rock formations that spawn there. And we can see that the Anvil rock is no longer spawning how it was last week, instead coming with 2 towering rocks to the left and right, and the God rock has had some holes patched in it. From a bird's eye view, it looks like that these formations still have a chance to spawn next to each other, and the Anvil rock in the snow biome is about to go really hard. This map that I'm recording on is 4200 sized, and the placement of these God rocks around it really feel like they're in key locations. Especially this one next to the river with other rocks around it. It feels like it's got a whole vibe going on that's going to be great for videos. And there's been a little bit of patchwork done to the rivers to make them fit in the environment a little better. There's still no word on whether the depth of the rivers is going to change. Right now it looks like it's a static depth all the way through into the mainland. As for now, the only major change to the rivers is blending between the river itself and the ocean so that it feels a lot better to look at. Overall, the formations feel like they fit the environment that surrounds them within the world a lot better than they did last week. Also, don't forget this is the Ox 2 staging branch, which is a testing server, so all of this stuff is changing pretty much as it's being worked on. It also looks like there's some new cliffs that were added, and this one next to the fishing village over here looks like it was designed in a way that you can jump up and around the water instead of getting stuck swimming around this cliffside. The mini islands that surround the mainland have also been fixed. There used to be a big hole in them and they looked kind of weird, and now this is the new version, which is going to be an amazing place to build a base at on the beach side. The top of them are still flat, but not completely like the old version, and they're also textured to match the biome that they spawn in. The formations that connected to the cliffside and sprawled out over into the ocean have also changed. I'm not sure if the other versions of them will still spawn as variants, but we can see that there's 2 different sizes of this that occur, and we're looking at the large one right now. I'm assuming that these are rock slides, and these ones are a lot smaller than the island versions that we talked about last week, and on this map I don't see any of those old versions anywhere, so we'll have to see if they get put back in, but I like the way that these rock slides kind of split up the beach a little bit so it's not so straight all the way down. And we can see all the small rocks that scatter around the beach now are textured to the biome that they spawn in. There's some variations of all of these rocks and mini islands scattered all around the beach, and everything is starting to mesh together really well and looks amazing. Moving on, there's a pretty big change to building that every builder is going to love, and that is when you're placing a foundation in a rock or in the terrain like you see here, it doesn't let you once you hit the middle of the foundation. Soon, you'll be able to build as deep as you want into the terrain or cliff, as long as a single corner of the foundation is exposed from the terrain or the rock. And what you're watching is currently the old version of how this used to work. This change is going to be amazing. I can't tell you the number of times that I've had an issue with placing foundations when building a base. Some random news about the blowpipe that'll be coming out in the future, probably with the jungle biome. It looks like there's going to be radiation darts as well as scatter darts, which shotgun blow dart go bird. It looks like the amount of these new log piles that spawn around the map similar to nodes has been reduced in volume, and they were spawning in some weird places like on the side of a cliff jutting off, and that has also been fixed. And we got a funny guy over here increasing the amount of wood that you'll get from farming driftwood, which looks like it'll be around 300 with a stone axe, and a little over 1,000 with a pure wood tee and a salvaged axe, which is kind of crazy. And I'm not gonna lie, I never farm these, but I think that the amount of wood you get depends on the size of the driftwood, so make sure you go for the bigger ones if you want more. Wood. Barricades have been fixed up to make it a lot easier to place them on the new cliffs now, but there's still some problem areas that need work, like once the rock is a little too steep like this, you can't really place it anywhere until you go up to the very, very edge of the cliff itself or place it on the bottom. So it looks like the lips of these cliffs have been adjusted so that barricades can be placed on them a lot easier, but the sides that look like this still are not placeable, which makes it a little awkward when you're trying to find a spot to put it down at, but I mean, it's a lot better than it was last week. I'm sure the rapture is about to break out in the comment section because lockers take damage now when you pick them up. And I'm predicting everybody and their mother is going to write me a very nice comment about how this is a great change. And while we're grinding your gears, the hackable crate is no longer buildable, which means you can't build a base around it. I never knew that people were doing this. I thought they just used a car to push it into their base, but I guess you used to be able to build around the hackable crate, and now there is a no build zone that surrounds it, and it's quite large. In better news, you're no longer going to get rained on while traversing the underground tunnels. There was a fix where if you had a ramp placed with a wall and the wall broke, you would not be able to place the wall back down, and this has been fixed. And this includes all the other types of walls, windows, and door frames as well. The new buoys have also been graciously granted the ability to spin. Let me know by leaving a comment down below if you're a knower about "but it spins." Blueprints are now learnable if for some reason you have them in a backpack. Maybe this will lead to other quality of life improvements for the backpack, such as being able to build with resources inside of it. And if you were paying attention, you might have noticed that there's a new gun that I had as the BP, the high caliber Revolver, which is a new pistol currently on the tier 2, but not yet found within the tech tree itself. It's very similar to the Python and might possibly be a skin for it, but personally I would like to see this as a tier 1 weapon, similar to how everybody felt about the SKS, which has been put on hold, and maybe this is something that will come alongside the SKS in the future, and we could possibly be seeing an update in the future with a bunch of new weapons and changes to the weapons, because there's also a Blunderbuster, which I think is a shotgun that's been worked on as well, or these all might just be released as a DLC, which is also cool too. There was also a new branch added simply titled Siege Weapons, with commits for a catapult as well as a siege tower. This is all the information we have so far, and Hannah has been working on the new jungle monuments, so we can assume that this is probably associated with that. And my predictions on this is that maybe the watchtower is going to get some skins or maybe get reworked, and that the catapult is probably a static prop that's going to be inside of a monument that players can use, similar to an MLRS, but that's just my best guess. Vehicles can now support radioactive water, which is kind of huge. And if we head over to the new toxic town, we can see that this puddle now gives you radiation and makes you puke when you drink it, as well as damaging you. Over by the forklift on the other side of the building, there's another puddle which also gives you radiation when you drink it, but at the moment you cannot fill any water containers up over on this side. You have to go to the other side. You're probably supposed to be able to do the same thing at the other puddle, it's just not working right now. Also, at the moment you cannot put radioactive water into a water catcher, but you can put it into a barrel, and when you connect a barrel to the water catcher, the radioactive water still does not go inside of it. My thoughts are that this is a bug because radioactive water is supposed to contaminate other sources of water, and since the sprinkler is also not giving off radiation during the time of this recording, it's probably bugs. And by manhandling a water tanker over here, we can see that you are able to fill it up with radioactive water, and the output of it is a pump, meaning you'll be able to collect radioactive water with a truck, bring it to your base, and pump it wherever you would like. In case you have the attention span of a rock, earlier I said that you can now fuel vehicles with radioactive water, meaning that this bad boy right here finally has some purpose. Also, the icon for the radioactive water has been updated, and it's a lot easier to tell that it's spicy water. And finally, if you die with any form of radiation, I believe, when a player comes up to you and loots your inventory, they will take a small amount of radiation. Depending on the amount of radiation a player has, this might make it a little difficult for nakeds to loot dead bodies that are radioactive. I've started a new channel for my event, the Crucible Grounds, where I'm going to be posting videos about all of the features of the event, what the event is, and other things associated with it. Everybody watching is invited to play in this event if you haven't heard about it yet. Make sure to join my Discord. We've already got 500 members that are interested. I've gotten some help from Lencorp and Lurk, who are hosting the server, as well as building up completely custom plugins for the entire thing. You might know them from Rustopia. They've also worked on the Atlas servers, as well as Fancy Orb's Global Warfare 2 that happened recently. And I'm going to be dropping a bunch of information and sneak peeks in the Discord, so make sure you go join that right now. Also, the sponsor of today's video, THATPRINTS, might potentially be working with the Crucible grounds in the future. Head over to thatprints.co.uk if you want to get your hands on one of these 3D printed auto turrets, which feature a laser and it spins, which is always a plus. THATPRINTS ships worldwide and has great packaging to make sure that your order makes it to you safe and sound. They also have a few other products as well, like this SAM sight, which also spins, and this explosive bullet keychain, as well as other products that they're working on expanding out into. Thank you to that guy, THATPRINTS at thatprints.co.uk for sponsoring today's video. And that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for 25,000 subscribers. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, leave a dislike if you didn't, and I'll catch you in the next one.